Hey guys, I'm Eric, this is Gary. Today we are smoking the Compromiso by Dunbarton Tobacco and Trust and spend a lot of time talking about our weight loss journeys, where we're at today, some of the challenges we've faced. I think you're going to really enjoy it, and if nothing else, get a good laugh at our expense. All that and more on Cedar Culture.
Kick back and relax, it's time to shoot the shit. Hanging out with the broskies, Gary and Eric. Let the ash go long and the convo stay pure. That's Cedar Culture. That's Cedar Culture. That's Cedar Culture.
Let's bundle these leaves and burn them and suck on them.
So, I mean, that's the thing, though, with I think, losing weight older, or this time, like, being older, and having a completely different mindset about it, I feel like I'm, like, okay with that. We had talked before about how losing weight, I don't know if we talked about it on an episode or not, but I was telling you how, as I lose weight, it's weird at times because it doesn't come off linearly. The weight doesn't come off from the spot you want it to first or whatever, So
Probably last.
and men in general, right? It's the spare tire. Mm-hmm. For me, I take that to a whole new level. Even when I was kind of quote more shredded, like when I was a Marine, my torso, I'm still kind of squared off because one of my guys I was stationed with called me SpongeBob Square Allen. Because I was wearing it's I forget what they call it, but it's not like dress blues. It's in between. And so it's not camis, but it's the olive green pants and the khaki shirt. Yeah. And so that khaki shirt is just tucked in, and it's like with the belt with the gold buckle in it. He's like SpongeBob Square Allen.
I always said I had parentheses. I called my love handles my parentheses. Even at my tiniest as an adult. Me
too. Even in high school or something like that, I definitely still have love handles. But this time it's cool. Like now I'm like laughing about it. I'm like, you know what? You just made a comment I think right before we started, like, oh, your calves are getting more ripped, and I'm like, I wish it was the love handles, not the calves, but hey, I'll embrace it. Yeah. And I
maybe that's your profile pic.
And just a kind of a tip for anybody going through a journey like this, because it can get frustrating and you can plateau. So I make sure I have 4 points of measurement that I really look at for progress, right? So because sometimes you get on the scale and it doesn't move for a few days or it even goes up. So I measure 4 things. 1 is progress pictures. So there's like that thing to compare to. 2 is obviously weight. 3 is body fat percentage. And then 4th is like tape measure of different body parts. Did you ever get into that when you were losing weight?
Tape measure I didn't. I wish I did, but I'm glad I kept some pants. For me, it's like I bought 40s, and I never want to be other side. I never want to be I never want to be out of that range. So when my 40s start to get tight, that's a reminder. Yo, Tubby,
that's good.
Reel it back in, and it's just an easy daily reminder for me that I worked really hard to get there from an almost 50 size waist. Yeah, and I preferably would like to be back to my college 38. But
the funny thing is,
we'll get there.
So I'll talk about it a little bit more throughout this episode, but just my adventures of St. Patrick's Day yesterday. But it was funny because coming off the pandemic and everything, roughly a pair of jeans will last me about a year before I blow the crotch out of it. Mm-hmm. Big thighs rubbed together, and it is what it is.
Sending smoke signals, buddy.
Basically, and but with the pandemic and not going out and it's not I didn't have to kind of freshen up my jeans this year. Yeah. So I go on a date a couple weeks ago, or a week and a half ago. Now I've lost this weight too, so I only had 1 pair of jeans. I had 3 different sizes of jeans. Yeah. All three sizes were too big. Fortunately, it's awesome.
Good for you, dude.
So 3 pairs I had 4 pairs of jeans. 3 pairs of jeans were too big. They were 2 or 3 sizes too big.
Right.
What
was the range, if you don't mind me asking?
36 to 40.
Wow.
Yeah, 36, 38, and 40, and I just ordered 34s.
Dude, that's
I haven't been in 34 since I was a Marine, actually.
Dude, that's
and I don't know if I am a 34, but the funny thing, so real quick, so when I went on a date with that girl, I had 1 pair of 36s. So I was like, that's the closest in size, but it had a big hole in the crotch, and I was like, well, I got it. It's in the crotch. She's not going to see it, whatever. We went bowling. On the first ball I threw, split. I just pointed out to her. She saw it, and she said it was getting worse throughout. By the time the date was over, man, I was just just straight to see my butt cheeks, basically. It was fun.
Obviously talked about?
We copulated a couple days later, so maybe that was what pushed it over.
I'm more surprised that you're she won't see that. I'm like, man, where's your go get 'em spirit? What do you mean she's not going to see it? Hopefully that's the quick access point, bud. I mean, I've been out of the dating game a while, but
So anyway, so I blew that pair of jeans was a little too big anyway. Blew the hole out. That's gone. I ordered some more jeans. They didn't come in time for yesterday, so I went out on St. Patrick's Day in shorts, and it was pretty cold out. But dude,
why is Eric in a swimsuit?
It was funny because that was my cheat day. It was a planned cheat day. It was 9 weeks and 1 day after I started the diet.
Nice.
So it was like 9 weeks and 1 day of being really strict. Went yesterday, and I had some things planned that where I was going to factor into my cheat day. I did, so for breakfast, I went to my bagel spot, and they had Irish potato cream cheese for St. Patrick's Day.
Like cinnamon, cream
cinnamon,
cheese,
coconut, extra sugary cream cheese.
I need to try that.
Dude, I did the Irish potato cream cheese on a chocolate chip bagel, because why not? And then,
it's cheat day.
And then, that's not the only thing I got. I got a breakfast sandwich, too. Everything bagel. This is fucking embarrassing.
You had me at everything.
This is embarrassing. Ready? Everything bagel, jalapeno cream cheese, egg, bacon, pork roll.
This is why we're friends.
Hash brown.
Oh, dude, it's awesome. It's like a fat sandwich, breakfast sandwich.
Oh, yeah.
My next cheat day I really want to plan, there's a place called Jack's Donuts on 30 that'll do a breakfast sandwich on a donut.
Well, let me know.
Oh, dude. We got to start coordinating like big time.
Coordinate cheat days. So I should share it with you. I set up a notepad like 2 days ago.
Of course you did.
And on my notepad is like 15 different things. So that way, like, in a weird way, I'm compartmentalizing.
Oh, yeah.
Because you get these random cravings, on a diet, and they can really drive you mad. So in a way, I put it in a box.
You're
and so
working
I
towards it.
put exactly. So I took every time I get a random craving for something, I kind of put it in a box, if you will, digitally. And for some reason, it actually is helping me. I did it in boot camp too.
Yeah.
I would send my mom things like, this is, have this in the house when I get home, have this in the house when I get home. It was like a whole 8.5 by 11 paper that I had like written out, or like she was writing in different letters that I was sending.
That's
and it got
crazy.
ridiculous. I was like, I wanted Oreo cheesecake, I wanted Mountain Dew, I wanted Mountain Dew Code Red. I got like very
Do they
specific.
still make that?
They just came out with I think they do. I
Code
don't know.
Blue, I saw,
They
or
just
something.
made or melon. There's a
Okay.
melon one.
You're the most like goal or like, you're very goal oriented, but you're the most like true to those goals in terms of accountability and writing. Like honestly, of a guy our age
appreciate it.
range. But so it's like cool to see that like that's how you attack a lot of things. Like not just in your business world or your
Right,
personal
yeah,
life,
not just
but
stuff
that's-
we're doing, we're
like, even,
collaborating.
like,
And I do it
even
to
with-
myself. It's not
right.
and I tell you that too. It's kind of funny, like when I do stuff and I'm like, all right, well, let's write it down, let's put it in a notepad. It's not because like, oh, like you need it or whatever. Like it's literally how I manage my whole life
No,
potentially to a fault where I'm like, if I'm dating a girl and she's like, do you want to do X, Y, Z? Like, can you send me a calendar invite? I seriously swear to God, I've done that.
No, and it's good.
It's kind of bad.
But
though.
I like that too because it helps. Like you're promising yourself that it's not the instant gratification of that cheat meal right then because we all want it when we want it,
Right.
And how much we want.
Yeah, I just want this goal so much more for the first time in my life. I'm like, and so now in just over a month, so probably about 5 weeks maybe from this Saturday, going on like a little daycation with my parents, my sister, and her family down to DC.
Cool.
So on April 24th. And so now that's what's in my mind. I'm like, that's gonna be that I've got a couple other little mini cheats in between now and then. I'm gonna allow myself, I think, about a cheat every other week or so through the rest of this diet up until the summer when I'm straight gonna just be a little wild and just try to maintain.
Yeah. Well, and that's always been like you've always said that's the goal.
And then hopefully go into this summer. I mean, definitely not hopefully already definitely go into this summer just a little bit better than I went into last summer.
I'm just proud of us because like we've attacked these goals a lot differently. I mean, like from my outside perspective of your health and wellness, like you're attacking it like on all fronts.
Yeah.
And like for me, I know I'm not a big measurement notebook, write it down. That's just not the way I am. I try to in different aspects and at work. But something as simple as like my pants are fitting differently. I got to make a little like it's that reminder. You know what I mean?
There's this a phrase I heard recently from a girl. You've probably never heard of it because you're like not in the dating game. And I just heard of it called big dick energy. Have you ever heard that phrase?
I'm trying to imagine what I think it means.
Sure.
Big dick energy, like
When I explain it, it'll be like obvious.
like I'm hard and ready to go. So
No, like
I go
big
full
dick
front.
energy might be like if a girl sees a guy and just be like, he's got like big dick energy. Like he walks with a lot of confidence and like
okay.
that kind of
Yeah,
thing.
yeah.
So when I was all drunk last night, I was explaining to my friend and his wife about how I'm going for that little waist energy.
No, but that's true. Like My buddy jokes like I have a buddy at work and he keeps baby wipes in his desk drawer for when he like uses the restroom. He's like, dude, I never walk more confidently than when I leave the bathroom after using baby wipes. That's so funny. But he's like, it's just like, don't worry about anything that's gonna pop up because I know I'm good to go. You know? Like it's just
baby wipes. Do you do the baby wipes? Have you ever done it? I don't like it.
See,
it gets slimy.
It does, but if you
can then dry after and stuff. But
it depends on it, and it depends. Hey, everything. And from being a dad, like baby wipes are like in your toolbox.
That's true.
But then I'm just like, well, they're here. Good sense.
And then they got like dude wipes now. Have you seen that?
They do.
So
they do.
I believe, right? It's a pack of baby wipes that's all black and like looks hardcore for men.
I think it's like larger.
Is it larger?
I think the wipe itself
that makes sense.
Is larger.
And it probably costs 4 times as much because it's like
a lot.
Because it's like you know what I mean? Like it's a shtick.
Well, because I will tell you,
shticks take a lot of marketing money.
It's tough if I was like walking in my office and I had like a Target brand Huggables like baby wipes under my arm. But the thing about those, I actually looked into them. Was my wife was like, "Hey, they make adult ones," and I'm like, "But why? They're the same thing." I'll just use 2 baby wipes if I need to. Now we're getting like real personal here.
And it's got 2 sides, so you can just flip it over.
Just like our underwear.
Exactly.
Monday, Tuesday, you're covered. But I don't know about the scent, and I even read on the instructions, they recommend for best usage, second to last wipe. Like use the dude wipe second to last. So you're using it.
So you have dude wipes.
I think I looked them up.
You looked them up, got it.
Yeah, or maybe like she got me like a sample pack or something. But it said like for best results, recommended second to last.
That's
wipe.
Pretty funny.
But it takes away the slime factor.
I would go instead of second to last wipe if I was at home. I'd make it the last wipe, and then I'd grab a little hair dryer for a little blow and go. But you know.
Anyone I talk to about this that's used like bidets swear by them, and they make the ones that attach to your tank.
I have a bolt-on one. Yeah.
Oh, I want to check it out.
Yeah. I actually had 2 of them, and I tried to put one on like the guest bathroom, but it didn't fit for some reason. But yeah, I have one.
You joked with me the first time I came over. You told me it was the water fountain.
Yeah. So I've got an interesting spin on our facts today.
Okay.
And I used fact plural. So what I did, I've actually got 3 facts, but 2 of them are real, 1 of them's fake, and I'm going to want you to try to figure out which one's the fake one. But before we get into that, I guess let's stick a little bit. You want to take that?
Yeah. So this was kind of one that I've been excited in when we're kind of going back and forth. I wanted to double check you had this in your humidor, but it's the Sin Compromiso from Dunbarton Tobacco and Trust from our buddy Steve Saka. But I mean, just from the look of it, it's like one of those sticks I think we were gonna enjoy. It's dark, it's oily. I mean, it was firm. Like I don't know if you felt it before you lit it, but man, it was like a brick. You know, so I was like, I almost thought mine was too dry.
Oh wow!
I was actually gonna text you a couple days ago and be like, dude, mine's like bone dry, but it's not.
They're burning great. Mine's burning great.
Burning fantastic.
Yeah. And the band, it's sort of that Celtic cross. It's in like a forest green and white color. So today's the day after St. Patrick's Day. By the time this airs, we'll be a couple weeks out. Yeah. But for us, it makes a little sense. It was St. Patrick's Day.
Yeah, and it comes in a nice little cedar sleeve.
That's cool too.
Always.
And the writing on it.
It says Sin Compromiso. So in some of the things I saw about this stick, it said in Dunbarton Tobacco and Trust's earlier releases, they had that motto on the box, in Compromiso, like no compromise.
Oh, that was more of just a slogan or something. That
was like their slogan. So this was the stick where he was like, I mean, this from, I haven't spoken to him yet, but he said, it was reported that they were like, this is the one I'm not going to pull out all the stops on, but, from first
Which is
light,
bold, I think. I mean,
it is. That's a tough.
When I read, just seeing the name, Sin Compromiso, obviously it's without compromise. So I kind of read that a little bit as them saying that like it's unparalleled in a way. Like we pulled out all the stops, we didn't cut any corners. This is about as good as it gets. I know they're not really saying that, but to an extent, there's a little bit of that undertone. Mm-hmm. So I think it's got a little something to live up to. Do you think so far in about the first third? Is it living up to that for you?
It's tough because if you gave it to me unlabeled, it's got a lot of Liga qualities to me.
It does.
It's got a lot of Drew Estate Liga qualities. It's very earthy. Yeah, it does because he was like there when he was making it happen during those Liga days. But I'm excited to get it to open up more. But really good straight natural flavors. I thought I was going to get a lot more sweetness off the.
So if I'm kind of. I'll tell you how I feel about it. I think, though, if I'm interpreting what you're saying...
I like interpreting.
If I am interpreting what you are saying. So I think what you're kind of saying is it's like really good, but maybe it doesn't have a ton of flavors. It's
I'm
very
excited to
good,
see it.
Solid, but it's not like there's not a lot going on, so it's hard to get excited about for that reason. But
it's not complex yet. I haven't seen any complexity.
That's a good point.
I'm not getting like the spice versus sweet versus the retrohale, but just
super
straight
solid.
Good.
I like
solid.
it. For sure.
Yeah. We were talking a little bit, I think, before we hit record. What I've seen, it goes for about $17.95. I don't remember what I paid for it at the brick and mortar.
But knowing the brick and mortar that you got it from, you probably paid at least that. It's not a cheap.
Potentially a buck or two more.
It's not a cheap shop by us.
But we'll check in when we kind of get to that second, third, and we'll see if there's any changes. But I mean, from the first light, there's been no construction issues. Really good straight flavors, straightforward. I think like great stick for two guys to sit down and kind of shoot the shit.
And we'll get into it more after I play this little game
here.
But sure. You've got the move going on and all kinds of stuff, so it is a good day to. It's good to that we have this, frankly, this appointment every week because. I don't know if it wasn't like appointment every week. I think we certainly would have fallen out of habit of doing it. But also, when you fall out of habit from doing it, like things like this tend to be a luxury that gets cut when you get busy. But I think 100%. what we all know, we just fail to recognize, and maybe adopt is we all know is that. This little 1 hour reprieve or a couple hours with driving and stuff, reprieve is perhaps the last thing you should cut because you can't really be a good. I mean, I'll be really bold. I'll say it's hard to be a good dad or a good husband or a good boss or employee or whatever if you can't recharge your batteries at some point in time.
And it's great to give you something to look forward to. Like literally, I was like, you know what? Right after work Thursday. I'm excited to go smoke a stick I've never smoked with my good buddy and just catch up. Like it's
I'm digging the stick too.
I am too. So you're giving me two reels, one fake. I got to figure out.
Yeah, total of 3 facts that I'm going to present to you.
I feel like I'm on Jimmy Fallon or something here.
It is kind of, yeah. I'm going to present to you 3 facts. I'll present all 3, and then you got to try to guess which fact is not true. So, if you got in your car and you drove 60 miles an hour up into the sky, if that was possible. So you drive 60 miles an hour up into the sky. It takes 1 hour to get to outer space in a car. The next fact is religious websites, on average, have 3 times more malicious malware threats than porn sites. And the third fact is goldfish do not, in fact, have a 3-second memory. They actually have a memory of up to a month.
Okay. I know for a fact the religious website one is true. I remember hearing that. The driving up in a straight line in your car, I'm trying to do math, wasn't my strongest subject, but 60 miles an hour.
1 hour.
So 60 miles.
Just to outer space, I guess, is what they're saying.
That sounds like it shouldn't be true, but I think it is because I was talking to one of our science teachers about the whole concept of the circumference of the Earth.
Okay.
And that it's based on, that's why our clock is 24 hours, why we have a 24-hour day. It's about 24,000 miles.
Okay.
Which doesn't sound like, it should be way more.
Yes, I agree.
It sounds like it should be way more. But the science teacher was like, I explained it to my kids this way, and they were blown away. When you see the second hand tick, it's a physical representation of the Earth's movement.
Huh.
And when you start to think about that, you're that's crazy. So I want to say that's true. I think the month, I'm not sure about the goldfish. The goldfish is the one that's got me, but I could be wrong on my math with the driving straight up. So.
Okay. So your guess is that the third one, the goldfish, is the false fact.
That's my guess.
You're correct. That's good, and there was good logic on how you got there. And so I actually tried to really trick you. And the way I tried to trick you is so the actual goldfish fact is that goldfish, in fact, do not have a 3-second memory. They have memories for up to 5 months, some studies have shown.
Wow.
And so all I did was change the 5 months to 1 month. So I really tried to curveball you there.
Yeah, you did. That was good.
But you got it. You figured it out.
I like that.
That's a fun little format for the fact.
No, I like that. Let's adopt that. I think in previous episodes I was talking to you my son when we're on we watch Cash Cab or we watch the game shows. He's like, you should go on a game show. Not that I think I know anything, but I like that.
It's fun. That feeling. All right, yeah.
But way less nerve-wracking sitting next to you than sitting in a booth isolated where they're like, this is $1 million question.
That's so funny because I was trying to set up a bank account over the phone actually for the sandwich shop I'm opening actually. And I was on the phone with the banker, and she had to verify my identity. And you ever do one of those things where online you got to answer questions?
The security questions?
But not the security questions that you pre-answer or anything like that. But they'll be like, of these 4 streets, what's the one you've lived on?
Oh my God,
and
yeah.
they can get tricky, right?
Yeah.
So, and I've always done it on a computer when you're trying to get access to something or whatever. In this case, it was over the phone, and there's like 4 or 5 of them. And I was like, crap, this is going to be actually, because that can get tricky.
Sure.
Because they go back in time, back pretty far sometimes, and I'm like, crap, she's going to be reading this over the phone. But it was super easy, like, what streets did you live on of these 4? And it was like, oh, none of the above. It wound up being really easy, but I kind of made a similar joke to her. I was like, man, like, if they ask, these are the kind of questions they ask on Jeopardy, like, I'm in.
Yeah, right?
What street do you live on? I got that one. I know it.
Give me a few more seconds to think about that. That's cool. No, I like that format. I had a couple sports facts. I know we were talking like sport-wise. I know we always kind of talk sports, and with baseball kind of coming up, baseball was on my mind.
Yeah.
Do you know the only person to hit 2 grand slams in the same inning? And it happened in our lifetime. It was something I had to kind of look up, which I'm like, how was this not bigger news? Like 2 grand slams in the same inning.
Wow. I mean, I don't know baseball very well, so I can't guess it, but I'm fascinated.
Guy's name's Fernando Tatis. He did it in Tatis in 1999. So he actually shares that record because he had 8 RBIs in a single inning, and that's the. But imagine like to get up twice in an inning is crazy, and then to hit 2 grand, to be in the position to hit 2 grand slams in a single inning.
That's crazy. That is crazy.
That's a tough. Like, how do you break that record?
You
could maybe tie.
That might last forever.
You can't break that one.
So our local hockey team, the Flyers, lost 9-0 last night. Did you see that? Did you hear about that?
I heard on Angel.
9-0. I texted my friend who's like a big hockey fan.
Did they pull the goalie or something?
I don't even know. But I texted my
Isn't
friend.
that a thing?
Yeah.
I know they skate and they fight.
Yeah. I texted my friend who's a big hockey fan, and I was like, how is it possible if the Flyers lost by 3 field goals? Like, how's that? Like,
I love when you put stuff in different perspectives.
Yeah. Like, I was like, how is that even possible? 2-point conversion somewhere? Like.
And that brings up one of the other facts that it just happens to be he's a Yankee, but one of my favorite facts of Rivera is more people walked on the moon than scored off of him in the postseason. 12 people walked on the moon, only 11 people.
That's a cool fact.
When you, like, the fact itself is cool, but when you compartmentalize it around that more people physically have walked on the moon, like, that's insane.
Wild. Speaking of the Yankees, did you hear about the big breakup? It's kind of, it's big news.
No, what's going on?
J-Lo and
A-Rod.
Yeah.
Forget about the fact that the Yankees. Was he buying the Mets, or did he?
Well,
buy the Mets?
I think they were buying together. I think
right.
They were both,
So that's.
I was wondering. The whole thing is
they were such a good team.
It's but people are saying, I guess, that was a contrived relationship because both of them were sort of falling out of the spotlight when they got together, and they certainly brought each other back into the spotlight.
That's true.
So it feels like a little bit like one of those.
Jenny from the Block's getting up there. She's no longer dancing for the Fly Girls.
And most people, I guess, that kind of know both of them are like, there are 2 people that have no business dating in terms of they're just both nut jobs and incredibly self-absorbed. So like they clearly can't love anybody but themselves.
They have their own thing.
That's probably why it worked for so long. They probably have more of a business relationship than a romantic one.
I saw A-Rod on
But that
Shark
is a beautiful couple too.
Well, yeah, I was gonna say
I saw him on
They
Shark
have
Tank,
ridiculous imagine my parents, J-Lo's my mother and A-Rod's my mother. But yeah, Shark Tank. So you just think of him as like, baseball player or whatever, but he is like so diversified. Like in the stuff I don't know if they feed
who else?
stuff
Ashton
into you.
Kutcher.
Oh, yeah. You think of him from not Jackass.
Both of them did the thing where they just.
What was his prank show?
Punk'd, yeah. Which that first season of Punk'd was sort of revolutionary for that genre. That first season of Punk'd was, I remember buying the box set when I was stationed in Okinawa because I didn't have much to watch anyway. I remember buying the box set because I remember that first season. Like, do you remember in that first season of Punk'd, they got Justin Timberlake, and he's like smashing his guitar, I think, or like.
Wasn't he sitting like crying?
He was crying. Like, I think Justin Timberlake came home and like all of his, I think I'll call it his whole mansion of possessions was like, including a really rare guitar, being repossessed or something like that.
And I think they had a fake replica of the guitar.
Replica of an expensive guitar, and something like that. There's some good ones in there. Dax Shepard.
Yeah.
That was his break. But you only get one season of it because he couldn't be in the second season because they know who he is.
The setup
guy. He's married to my the apple of my eye. She's like the ultimate girl next door. What's her name?
Kristen Bell.
Yeah. She's that ultimate girl next door.
Let it go,
dude. Let it go.
going off of that, have you ever seen the SNL that Justin Timberlake hosts, and he pretends to be Ashton Kutcher, and they do a punk?
Oh my God, that's been so long.
But it's probably one of my favorite things he did.
Oh,
because he's like, I love Justin Timberlake. Like, you know, he's
I'm literally
like, I'm Ashton Kutcher. I'm awesome.
I'm awesome. Yeah.
But he's got the trucker hat, like, and it's great. And he's like, they punk like, you know, they pretend to punk like. Fred Durst, you know. Like,
once we're done, once we're off the air, we gotta watch that.
It is one of my favorites.
Close out our smoke session watching that. That's funny.
As I'm kind of hitting, I don't know if I'm about the midway point. I'm getting some sweetness.
Are you?
Yeah, I'm getting some sweetness off that.
I farted. Maybe it's that.
I hope it.
Like, well, on the retro hail.
It depends on what you drank that made the fart, because it could be.
That was the Irish potato cream cheese farts.
So they make it's easy to make keto versions of that, because you can do the artificial sweetener.
Oh, of
cream
Irish
cheese,
potatoes.
Yeah, cream cheese. Cinnamon, no carbs.
Yeah.
Coconut,
it's fat.
slight
carbs,
but
it's more of a fat.
I get the sweetened coconut stuff from Trader Joe's. It's literally just like shredded coconut, and dude, I love it.
Dude, that
can mess your stomach up a little bit too. That's got a natural. I could eat Irish potatoes. Like,
oh yeah, God.
I mean, like,
I remember, you know, I love them so much, and so every year my mom would get me a box of those, like Orions or whatever they are. And
they're okay, but a homemade Irish potato.
Well, I was gonna say that blew my mind was, you know, when I was a young kid and my mom was like, "We can make these, you know, like let's make them." And I was like, you know,
O'Reilly
you're
makes
a kid,
them.
You're like, blows your mind. I'm like, we can replicate this. And she's like, yeah, it's like.
Can you make one big one?
Yeah. Oh my God, you would never.
No, dude,
did you ever do that with your Starburst when you were a kid? Did you really?
Yeah.
I didn't know if that was a common thing.
You know what else was a big thing? So yeah, the mash your Starburst together to make like a jawbreaker.
Yeah.
So, coaching track and field, you watch like teenagers just do different things. Taking a full-size Airhead in the package still.
Shake it
till it gets down to like.
I used to do that. Did you do that as a kid, or did you see that more as an adult? Yeah.
But the bus ride home, I was like, come on, like 20 minutes.
Dude, it's like
Well, you're driving an hour and a half.
Did you ever Redman? Like use Redman chew, like chewing tobacco?
Yeah.
It's kind of like that, right?
Oh,
or like a tin.
Yeah. But that's what you like pack it,
right? That's
you know?
what it's like packing your Airhead.
But you're like, how does it physically? How
I
does
know.
it work?
That's because it's mostly air. Honestly, seriously, like I bet the taffy is a lot of air in there.
That makes a lot of
so
sense.
it probably
you're compressing.
It's probably why they call it Airheads. It's probably airified or whatever.
Well, that's what it's doing.
Did
It
you ever
stretches it out.
Yeah.
Have you ever seen like how they make taffy on the boardwalk? They have those old machines from the 1800s.
Yep.
That's all it's doing.
You're right. And it probably aerates it.
Look at you.
So
dude, let's go on a game show. We would crush it. If it was about stupid shit,
true
we
or
win.
false? You can tap an Airhead to make it smaller. True.
It's like what Happy Gilmore was that. It's like dog poo and the human reaction. He's like, yeah, I know
reaction.
Flaming dog poo and the human reaction.
Speaking of, so you know you had done a good like a full year of your diet, and then now you're more in. I don't know if you would even call it a diet, other than like I think now you would just call it this is your lifestyle, right? And you might fluctuate weight a little bit, diet a little harder, but like for the most part,
my
this is your lifestyle.
and I, you know.
Did you have any crazy cheat days? Like when I was saying how my cheat day yesterday, right, was super planned. So I told you that breakfast. And then at night when I get home, I was actually in the mood to not cheat anymore. Like I originally was gonna have like a crazy cheat when I got home, but I was like not in the mood. So what I told myself is I told myself I'd go crazy. I'd allow myself to have like more protein shakes than I could normally have in my diet, so calories. So I poured like a big glass of milk with a ton of protein powder, and then I was drinking all that. And mind you, I'm really drunk at this time, right? And so I'm drinking all that, and then I realized I'm like, man, I'm not gonna poop for a week. All these protein shakes. So I have these like fiber gummies. So again, being drunk, I start throwing a handful of fiber gummies, and that's why I've got all this bubble gut and gas today, because it puts that fiber in you.
Well, you got alcohol, you got food, you got this. This
and then this is bad, right? Yeah. Oh, I'm not done. so then I get in bed, and then I'm like, all right, like cool, that's kind of a win. I drank today. I didn't cheat on my food as bad as I want, and then Domino's hit my head, hit my brain.
Oh my God.
And I was like, you know what? I was like, actually, I don't want it. I don't want the Domino's. And then I shut my light off. I'm getting ready to go to bed, and I was like, but tomorrow I will. Tomorrow, I was like, fuck.
And that's not your cheat day.
That's not my cheat day. I was like, I'm going to wake up tomorrow, and Domino's is going to be the only thing I can think about. I was like, you know what? Fuck it. I just ordered some Domino's. I ate like 2 slices and threw it out. I was like, now I don't want Domino's.
It's like the purge.
It's like the purge.
And you did, like, do you remember years ago, after training for Tough Mudder, you turned me on to like carb night or carb day or something?
Yeah.
So you're like, you're good.
Carb
and then
loading.
you like carb loading. So like, you're actually the proponent of why I even do this kind of
That's
stuff.
interesting.
But to answer your first question, cheat days.
Yeah.
For the first 6 months, I was crazy. No cheat. I wasn't even drinking diet soda.
6 months is
water,
a long time.
Water. Maybe it's like 4 to 6 months. But so when I was kind of talking to Allie, I was like, I think I want a cheat day and I want to go to my favorite pizza place. And she's like, well, I'm getting you your own pizza. Because I was only doing 1 meal a day at the time anyway. So she's like, it's 8 slices. Like, I'm getting you your own. And then we'll have like the family stuff, the rest of it. And I remember the first day I was like, I'm going to be good. I'm going to have 3 slices. Well, then the problem is you open the fridge the next day.
Now you're cheating multiple
days. Now I have
days.
5 slices. And I'm like, well, the pizza was expensive. So I literally, like, I was a glutton. Like, if it's going to be my cheat day, I was like, I will eat the entire 8 slices. And you feel terrible. And the next day, like you said, you don't want to get on the scale.
Did you eat all 8 that night, or did you do 3 and then 5?
The first time I did it, I did 3, and then I ended up the next 2 days.
Oh,
I
right.
had like 2 slices the next day, and I said, forget this. I just ate the toppings.
Okay.
Which was like an epiphany too. Like, ooh, I could eat the toppings of my cheat meals, and that's still keto. So like, you start to learn ways around your cheat meals.
So I remember seeing an interview with Missy Elliott back in the early 2000s when she had lost a bunch of weight. I know.
I'm excited to see how you're tying in Missy Elliott.
Dude,
This
so
is great.
it hit me. It made a whole lot of sense. But she was asked about like how she lost weight and stuff, and what she said is she just didn't really restrict herself. So like, I mean, she obviously tried to, but if she really wanted McDonald's, she said what she did is she went to McDonald's, she got her favorite meal, she took a couple bites of everything, poured her Coke on the rest of the food, and threw it out.
Isn't that, but see,
That's kind of what I did with the Domino's last night. I'm like, you know what? I'm going to shovel in.
But
I got
dude,
like the chicken bites, I got the cheesy bread, I got the pizza.
You hit the
couple
nail
bites
on the
of each,
head, man.
Throw it out.
Because if you
I don't want it anymore. And now I
like,
feel fat, and now I feel like crap, and so now I don't even want it.
But that's the other thing. The beauty of when you start to eat healthy and your body starts to work the way it's supposed to. Guys that are like I used to joke, like anytime I had to go to the bathroom, it was like an emergency. Like, and then you're not that way. So when you start to feel that again, you're like, oh, this isn't worth it.
That's a good point.
And
yeah.
we're going to be I'm going to be 40 this summer. Like, my body does
I was
not
talking
recover the way it normally
does. A couple of
does.
my best friends from like high school that were still in group text and very close. Was talking. A couple of them are actually starting to get pretty serious as well about health in different ways.
I think we have to. Dude.
Yeah, I was talking to the one guy. I mean, the one guy's has 2 kids that are getting older. Like I think the youngest is still over 10 now, but his wife just got pregnant. It's kind of third, almost change of life baby, if you will. And that. And then what I say is, I want grandkids. I want to be alive to see my grandkids. I don't even have kids, so like you have to. And when you hear those stats, and then now it's kind of like, all right, well, if I lost 20 pounds, like some statistic out there says I just added like 15 years to my life or something,
No, it's true.
That's meaningful.
And I feel like I have it at both ends. Like, so they say like any inch
I hope
over.
you like it that way.
Any inch over 6 feet tall, like your blood has to, your heart has to work so much more to go. And every pound, like over 250 pounds, so like not only I'm tall, dude. I was 6'4", 6'4 and a half, and at my heaviest, 4'15",
and then it doesn't help when
425.
your heart's trying to pump maple syrup through your veins.
God.
Like,
well, that's the thing. Like, I remember seeing a buddy who I haven't seen, and he's like, dude, you used to get off the bar stool at the bar, and it looked like you were gonna collapse, like your knees weren't gonna work. Like,
how did you? I actually meant to ask you this before. So
I was powerlifting at that time.
You were powerlifting at
like
the time,
heavy.
but you were also saying how you might go to the local watering hole on a Friday night, put down 20 wings and a half a dozen beers, and then grab another quick 20 wings before you leave the bar or whatever. How the heck did you do that with kids? Like, how did you manage hangovers?
So,
or did you are you just lucky and don't get bad hangovers?
I do get bad hangovers, but like I think because of my weight, like dude, I was putting away like 10 to 12 PBRs, like pounders. But I was also staying up a lot. Like that's why I was like super unhealthy. But my wife and I had a deal. She was like, you can go out Friday night. But I was coaching my kids' soccer team. So, like, I didn't have a chance to get hungover. I'd go to sleep by, like, 4, wake up at, like, 7:30.
That is true.
Hydrate.
Yeah. That is true. When you're hungover, when you're forced to get up and take a shower and poop and all that stuff,
like I had to
you
do
do
my
force
thing.
your way out of the hangover.
And I think kids put life in perspective because it wasn't a very long period of time either. Like, it was, like, the one soccer season where I was coaching both of my kids' teams. And I was like, I'm not doing this. It was that, like, slice of my life. It was.
Your last stand of just, like, putting your body through shit before you.
And my buddy joked, the guy I would lift with, he was always like, dude, you found like your outside claws again, like you're an outside cat again. Like, you were an inside dad, like, oh, I won't get off the couch, I'll just kind of do this. He's like, you were squatting good numbers, you were deadlifting good numbers, and
that's why you wanted to
we're
go out.
Going out and like,
yeah,
raging and doing our thing. But it was
that's
like,
cool.
but literally, it was only from like the kids went to bed at 9, so we would go out at like 10 to like 3. Like, but you know, and again, I wasn't drinking during the week. It was that one night. But man, it was like, talk about the purge. Like I was like, dude, I don't want to do that. And then Friday would come home. I'm like, all right, go back.
I know.
I was also eating a lot. Like, so I'd have like 20 wings, beer, maybe a burger, more beer, and then like maybe another 20 wings. So I was putting like 2,000 or 3,000 more calories just
Here's the
in
thing.
those 3 or 4 hours.
When you were weighing 415, nobody could say you didn't earn it. You earned that 415. You put in work.
But Brian, our good friend, you know him, he was like, when I started losing weight, he's like, dude, I'm so proud of you. He's like, I was worried about you.
Yeah.
He's like, because if you were bringing that lifestyle into your 40s, he's like, the end result wasn't going to be good.
You know, I guess when you're a dad,
Stress,
like, I imagine you have to think too. Like you're bringing that lifestyle to your kids. That's what you're teaching
Well, that
your
was
kids.
it. And like they didn't see that.
Right.
But they like, even my kids now, like when
At
we go
that
to the
age,
park
they
and
wouldn't
play,
have known a difference. But one day they're going to learn what fat is and be like, God damn, Dad's fat.
Right,
Like,
that. Well, there were 2 things that really motivated me. One, I didn't want my kids to be embarrassed when I took them to like the beach and stuff. And I told you that's the thing that really kicked me in the gut was the time Holden wanted to go on a ride and I couldn't fit with him. It was a kiddie ride.
Yeah.
But I couldn't fit with him.
Did you like? Were you embarrassed or like? Did
They
you?
like 2 attendants
Oh, they were
tried
trying to
squeezing me in because I was like, just let it click once. I don't care. It's a kiddie ride. I'm like, sir, it's not working. And like my son's 5 maybe.
But like, did you feel like the whole world was staring at you too?
That I don't care about.
Oh,
that.
you didn't?
I cared about the 2 eyes that were looking at me, and when Holden was like, "Daddy, it's okay. I'll ride by myself."
Aww.
And I had to just stand there and watch my son go on like his first kind of bigger ride.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm not letting that happen again. So it sucks. The whole point
Was that the catalyst? Was that what? Like, did you start the diet shortly after that?
It was one of those things where I was like, if I keep doing this, I'm never
It's
going
an
to
accumulation of catalysts, kind of. Yeah.
But it sucks because COVID hit and we couldn't even do. The whole point was I wanted to take him on his first loop-de-loop roller coaster ride.
Oh yeah, you were like 2.5 months into your diet when COVID hit.
So we couldn't even like go celebrate. And now like with things calming down, we're comfortable kind of going to a theme park and doing that. So I'm excited to take him on that. And it's that reminder, like I don't ever want to get, like it's funny, me being concerned about 300 pounds now because 18 short months ago, I was like, I'm only 415.
It's so funny. I would
lie to the doctor. He wouldn't even weigh me. My physical, I'd be like, 365. And he'd be like, okay. Because, dude, I don't even think the scale went, he was like, we go to 350. So I'd be like, I think I'm 365.
God, yeah.
So I'm like lying to my doctor. Like, it was
So
bad,
you got to
dude.
the point where you're like, you have a choice to make. You could have either tried to cut 100 or try to add 100 and get a TV deal.
Well, or dude, like, and then what is that?
My 500-pound Gary.
Right, and that's like, I was like, man, I was only like 80 pounds away from being on.
I remember, I mean, it sucks, right? Like, but obviously we kind of have faced our own fuck-ups in the dieting regard. But I remember when I was, I graduated high school at 175, and I felt good at 175. I carried 175 through most of my time in the Marine Corps. By the time I was getting out, I got it like 182 or something like that. I just remember telling myself, just don't cross 200. Just whatever you do, don't cross 200. Dude, I crossed 200 within like probably 2 months of getting out of the Marine Corps. I think I gained, or not even 2 months. I want to say like a couple weeks. I did. I gained like 20 pounds. I got over 200 in less than a month of getting out of the Marine Corps.
And I think you and I are very similar in the fact that
sad.
people don't realize like we could gain like. If you and I were like, hey, we have to gain 30 pounds this weekend, I think you and I could.
We should stop talking about food because, like, I think I just gained 20 pounds talking about
That's
it.
the way
No,
it was.
100%.
I could smell
That's why I told you I
Cinnabon.
didn't weigh myself today.
Right. Yeah.
Cinnabon, I should add that to my list.
Louis C.K. does a great bit about how he's like, there's not.
He calls it like, yeah.
But he just like, you look at the line, it's not a different eclectic group of people. It's just sad, pathetic males.
Dude,
I can't believe
really.
we're getting
So this is kind of funny, man. So, actually, very, very on topic too. So, I remember last March, as we're learning more about the pandemic, and at this point, it got to the point of time where people started realizing, okay, elderly and people with pre-existing conditions, that's really who's at risk. And then a lot of people were, me included, starting to kind of talk about how, like, okay, if that's the case, like maybe we shouldn't shut the whole country down, in my opinion. And then articles start coming out, and there's a newspaper article from a guy who's like 31 years old, and he's talking about at 31 with no prior conditions about how rough of a time he had with COVID. And obviously the thesis of the article was to try to convince the reader, no matter how old you are or what state of health you're in, you should take COVID seriously. Here's the thing. It had a picture of the guy with COVID, the 31-year-old, I think he was. He was a fat fuck. And I said to the guy that sits next to me, was sitting next to me at work, and I said, hey, man, like, I'm curious your take on this, because he happens to be the smartest person I know, too. And I was like, would you consider obesity a pre-existing condition? And he's like, absolutely, yeah, you know? And they're like, me too. But it's just kind of sad that now a year later, our top doctors are like, hey, guys, obesity, that's the link. Like, yeah, no shit. This dumbass kind of realized that immediately.
And when you're in that state, or at least when I was in that state, you start to make every excuse. Well, I'm big, I carry it well. Like those things. Oh, it's not. I'm not eating bad. I get bad heartburn.
Oh, dude, those things.
It was so sugar related. It was so sugar related. It's not even funny. And all that those problems were inflammation.
It costs you real money too.
Skin rashes, like dude, my skin cleared up. It's losing that 120 plus pounds changed every.
Dude,
aspect
I had
of my
such
life.
bad acid reflux, and yeah, you're right. Not for a second that I kind of. I guess take accountability and recognize that it was because
I was like, my wife uses the jarred
sauce.
tomato
sauce, yeah. You know, and my sister's a nurse. She's like, oh, you got to eat like a red apple a day. Red apples apparently are like a natural acid or whatever.
Yeah, apples are bases. I feel like that neutralizes it.
So, but of course, you know, so then you somehow start rationalizing. You're like, oh, that makes sense. Like instead of just losing weight, I should just start eating an apple every day because that's the right answer. And like. Yeah, you start rationalizing it, and you know, and the thing is, people around you don't help, right? Because you might go to and they're trying to help, right? Your friends. So you say to a friend, you're like, man, like I really need to lose some weight, and your friend says something like, oh, dude, but you lift, like they're like, I can tell you lift, like you got big muscles, right? And so you buy into it, and you're like, oh,
yeah, but they're under this 97 pounds of gross.
I know.
Cottage cheese. But like I said, so I remember saying to Brian, I was like, why didn't you say anything before? He's like, dude, you weren't at the place where you were gonna like openly be like,
and it's a tough conversation to have,
God,
right?
Yeah.
Like,
and
hey,
like, you know,
dude.
we were working, and you know, he works, I work, and you know, life gets in the way. But
is he doing keto now? I think
he was doing keto. I think him and his wife are doing something else now. But like, you know, he like
a lot of people I know are doing Whole30s. Have you heard of that? It's basically paleo, almost. And it was actually born out of paleo. The people that created it, it's a couple that created it, and I believe they're you know, kind of came out of the CrossFit world. It's essentially doing paleo. It's eating like whole foods, you know, that kind of stuff. No sugars, no added sugars or anything like that for 30 days, and they call it a Whole30. And you drop some lbs. Yeah. But here's the thing:
once you go back to sugar,
also. Well, it's one of what I would say. You know, you could consider a downside of like the keto. Now, for you, like you've adopted it as a lifestyle, but for keto as a diet, that can be one of the downsides. Is that if you kind of cheat on a regular quote diet and maybe you have a couple hundred extra calories, it's like, okay, yeah, a couple hundred extra calories. If you cheat on keto, the thing with keto is you're already eating a lot of calories because it's a lot of fat and stuff. Mm-hmm. So if you cheat on keto and eat carbs, then you're just eating a fuck ton of calories.
Well, that's the
it's
problem.
It's hard to like slightly cheat on keto.
Your body, well, I can't say my body either processes carbs or sugars or fats. Like when you combine the two, it just doesn't know what to do. And I look at like my own kids and I'm like, everything is sugar from breakfast to lunch to
That's how my body is with working out too.
It's just
it responds to lifting, but running, it's just like my body, it doesn't give a fuck. Like I got fatter in boot camp. In Marine Corps boot camp, I weighed the same coming out, but
They say running is not a carb. Like
no.
It's good for your heart.
Teaches
you to run.
So I lost muscle mass in boot camp. And so I was the same weight when I got out, but I looked fluffier.
Yeah, we go back to that. I mean, we're only the experts in ourselves, and we're just learning that.
Yeah, I don't know shit about like, yeah.
But
I know my version of it.
To tie it into cigars, I joke with people, but I say it with all sincerity. Cigars helped my weight loss. It helped me have something to do after my
gives you a
meal.
non-caloric vice too.
It did. Like I think in one of our early episodes,
it probably
I said
releases some chemicals that are similar to the joy you get from eating too.
Isn't nicotine like an appetite suppressant?
It is.
Regard?
Yeah.
But like especially when I was earlier as a smoker with the sweet cigars, like it created like it you know, my body was taking in flavor without calories.
Yeah.
You know, so like there's few things that you can put in your mouth that you're not eating to give you flavor.
That's true.
And so I know it's not a great vice, but like you said, our one weekly cigar, like this coming together weekly and having the cigar keeps me sane, keeps me like baseline, like I know we expected. And it has helped it's an hour I'm not sitting in front of the TV just mindlessly going through a bag of chips and I'm like, oh, that bag I just opened is gone.
Oh, still, I just reminded me of, so the first thing I cheated with yesterday after my breakfast sandwich, the first alcoholic drink I had. Dude, have you ever seen, probably not, because it just came out like a year ago. PBR makes like an alcoholic coffee.
My wife loves it, but like the sugar content
Oh,
has got to be
sure.
insane.
Oh, because it tastes like those Starbucks drinks. It's all creamy and stuff, but it tastes so fucking good, dude. They're
PBR
good.
was my drink.
Guinness makes a coffee now too. I had one of those yesterday.
That's got to be delicious because
It was
Guinness
okay.
got that.
It was okay
I
in
would
that
have hoped
it was okay in that it was good. It was like the adult version of the PBR
It wasn't sweet. It, was like
It wasn't as
sweet.
sweet and stuff. Yeah.
PBR also came out with, which I'm hoping to kind of pick up on. They call it like
Cake?
a strong seltzer. It's 8%. It's a little can, but dude, it's an 8% seltzer
What?
and 1 carb.
What?
Yeah, so those might have to be our summertime. We have to check.
I'm
those
definitely
out.
gonna check that out.
When we have-
but I
when
don't
we
think
have, like, a big
the
stick
thing. Yeah,
of that.
you know, I think the problem with alcohol though is that like, even though it has
bloats you anyway.
What's that?
It bloats you anyway.
Yeah, because even though it might have 1 carb, but if I'm not mistaken, and this is what I mean when I say that, like, I don't really know shit about this stuff. I just know like
How it affects me.
How it affects me. But I think that the challenge with alcohol is they can say that it's got 1 carb, but I think your body turns it into more sugars.
Alcohol does something.
It's sugar. Like I think your body just turns alcohol into sugar. So while it's going in your body with 1 net carb or whatever, it winds up in your body as a ton of net carbs, I believe.
And I know. For
but
a
still,
fact-
probably a better alternative.
Oh, way better alternative. If you're having a summer barbecue and you're going to put down
That's
3 or
what I'm
4
saying.
beers, 2 or 3 stronger
3 or 4.
seltzers, good.
3 or 4. I don't know about 3 or 4, but yeah.
Alcohol, what I know for certain it does is it negates protein synthesis. So all this
Yep.
stuff we're doing.
That's true too.
Like
Your body doesn't recover as well. So and your body, you know, you gain muscle like as you recover from your workouts. And yeah, so if you're not recovering as well, your body's not using the nutrition as well. So I definitely this summer, you know, plan on limiting alcohol intake, but I'm gonna have fun. There's just why
yeah.
else? Why get abs if you can't like go like enjoy
Have
it?
a beer
yeah,
while
like
showing girls your abs.
Kind of. You know?
The healthiest thing I did beside keto was literally I was like I tried to do a year of no alcohol. And now, like, I'll have a really nice bourbon if you or Bernsey has some, and I have one that I'm saving for my 40th birthday. But I just don't turn to the alcoholic beverage like I used to. Like, I went out yesterday.
I had to tap out yesterday. I legit, the last 2 beers came, mine and my buddy's. He drank his. I didn't take a single sip of mine. I started getting acid reflux and stuff, and it was just like it was all that beer sitting in my stomach. I didn't eat that much except for the massive breakfast. But we were, dude. He came and picked me up at 10 a.m.
Yeah, that's a
I
marathon
didn't get
day,
home
bud.
till almost 9 o'clock at night.
Dude, 12 hours, buddy.
Dude.
I was gonna say I can't remember the last time. It's been a while.
Me too.
But I'm happy we're.
I don't want to do it again for a while either.
But
That sucked.
isn't it another like,
feel like
positive about having, like we talked about, not only the caloric benefits of kind of resetting the diet, but mentally. Like, all right, I got that out.
So,
that out.
I'm glad you brought that
Did
up. I'm reading a book now called Atomic Habits.
Okay.
And I meant to talk about it anyway. I wanted to let you know about it. It's a pretty cool book. I started a personal kind of habit of reading for 20 minutes first thing in the morning before I get out of bed. So
Nice.
that thing you normally do is grab your phone. So I try to grab the book.
Good for
Typically,
you,
I'm still
dude.
grabbing my phone,
Yeah.
but then I grab the book after, and kind of knock out my 20 minutes a day of reading. Anyway, so it's Atomic Habits is the one, and
Sounds good.
There's one thing that he talks about early in the book that I really like, which is, see, the challenge with like a weight loss goal of saying I want to lose 100 pounds is that once you get there, it like a box is checked,
Right.
and that's why you rebound, because like you factually hit your goal, and your goal stopped there. Your goal didn't go past that. And so what he says, what he alleges, or what he says is, don't make a goal like that. You need to, on a daily basis, so like focus on the process, not the result. And on a daily basis, what you should do is actually have in your head who you want to be. So maybe it's a certain friend that's in good shape or whatever. And so then you're going to Chipotle and you have choice between like a salad or a burrito. Literally ask yourself, I don't want to lose 100 pounds. I want to be a fit person. So what decision would a fit person make right now? Like what would a fit person do right now? And so what he says is how habit forming works. So he says if you just do that, it's a very conscious decision. But if you keep doing that over time, your body will accidentally your body, we're incredibly resilient creatures. And so we essentially, our bodies try to automate things. Like our body does that on purpose. It's a thing. It's like a survival mechanism because you can only focus on one thing at once. So your body is like, to make you more productive, it automates things. Like breathing, it automates that because it knows if you had to think about breathing, you couldn't do anything else. That's all you're thinking about. And so in this case, what he says, and there's science to support it, is that if you just do that at some point in time, you're just going to be making those decisions. And then, oh, by the way, you're going to lose that 100 pounds. That's the byproduct.
It's almost like the body, the adult way of saying like fake it till you make it. Like if you fake that you're confident going into a stressful
100%.
meeting, like you then go, oh wait, I'm confident and I'm calm
Yeah.
and I can respond calmer.
Yeah.
And I sound more professional.
So you try to do things. Even another example is if you're trying to quit smoking. And somebody offers you a cigarette. I don't know why somebody would just walk by and offer you a cigarette, but somebody offers you a cigarette. Instead of saying, no thanks, I'm trying to quit, what you're supposed to say is, I'm not a smoker.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's a way different.
It's that simple, but like it's that mindset thing. And I'm certainly going to be, I'll give updates on episodes and stuff of how it's going.
No, that's awesome.
But I'm definitely.
That may be something I pick up
only,
for the summer to read. I like
yeah,
that.
I'm only a third into. I'll let you borrow it when I'm done it. I'm only actually like a quarter into the book, but so I'll let you know how the book develops. But
awesome.
Atomic Habits. So far, I highly recommend it.
Speaking of develops, as we're kind of closing in,
We
on
are
the
closing
stick,
in on the stick. We'll probably wrap it up here soon. You did say, did you have another fact? We got about. You said something about sports facts. I didn't know if you had another one.
I did. I mean, I can go through it now. Yeah,
Let's hit it.
It's one of my favorite baseball players, Babe Ruth, but it's not. It's kind of about him, but it's not. In 1917, Ernie Shore pitches a perfect game. 27 batters, no one reaches base, all out. But he doesn't get credited for a perfect game. He gets credited with a combo no-hitter because Babe Ruth.
Combo no-hitter?
Because Babe Ruth walked to the first batter, punched the umpire, and got ejected from the game.
Oh, wait.
So he came in as a relief pitcher.
Oh, so
after the
combo
first,
no-hitter,
right.
meaning, oh, yeah, wow, because for it to be a perfect game, you would have had to start the game. So,
Dude.
I like that fact.
It's a great fact.
I want to watch the Babe, the John Goodman one. I haven't watched it since it first came out. We were little kids.
He had to lose weight to play that role.
You did tell me that. That feels like it would be a fun movie to watch again because I watched it as a kid, and I have a feeling that it'd be just more interesting as an
You
adult.
forget he was a pitcher, and like a
Yes.
good one, he would have made the Hall of Fame regardless of his home run career as a pitcher, just because of his ERA. But
Which is
dude,
insane.
he pitches to one batter, walks him, gets frustrated, and punches the umpire, and gets ejected from the game.
I love
The
that.
dude who comes in for him pitches a
Perfect game, essentially. Wow.
So
All right, man. So I'm loving the way this developed. I think it may
like
have
it.
kind of naturally sweetened up for me a little bit,
It
but
did.
I wouldn't say a ton.
Look,
It is
constant
steady
good
Eddie.
tobacco, man.
Great cigar. 10 out of 10 would smoke it again, but I pay like $19, $18 for it.
That's a
I
good
just
question.
don't know because I think, I'm trying to remember from that same brick and mortar what like a rat cost. Was that like $20? A
yeah,
few
it's
dollars
probably
more?
in there more.
Like 20,
Or one of
21.
the Placencias that we really liked, you know.
One of the Placencias is maybe a good one to say, like maybe I would pick up the Alma Fuerte instead of this, depending on what the price is. I
But
forget.
if I had a bunch of these,
But if you had
oh
these,
my God.
you'd smoke the hell out of them
Yeah,
for
I
sure.
like it.
It's an awesome steak. Highly
Another-
recommend
another
it.
good
Sin
Saka.
Compromiso.
Another good Saka blend.
So thanks for coming by. Let's go watch that SNL clip
Yeah,
that we were talking
absolutely.
about. And as always, long ashes.
Stay smoky, everybody.
Thanks for checking out the Cedar Culture Podcast. If you'd like that episode, go ahead, tap like, follow, subscribe, whatever it is on your platform of choice. And if you are on YouTube, hit that bell as well to be notified of new episodes. It really helps us out. We appreciate it.
And then don't forget to head over to Instagram and Facebook and follow us as well.
Do it.
Do it.